Okay, so this is the very first video on this channel and how to open it up. I don't want to open up like every other channel because you see all these other magical channels on YouTube that go over this system and that system, and they always go over the same sorts of things. They'll go over sigil magic, the basics of magic, herbs and oils, ritual tools, etc., etc. And while that's all fine and important, it needs to be known, and I'll definitely bring those things up every now and then. This channel isn't going to be holding your hand and walking you through with what I do. Watch me end up doing that though. That would be hilarious. Coming into this, I'm going to assume you have at least a basic grasp on the basic tenets of magic. I'm talking about the groundwork basic tenets that apply to all paths and currents within this crazy thing that we do. I'm also making this as a sort of video journal of sorts to have a video presentation and audible commentary note form on the rituals that I have done. For as a good magician, witch, practitioner, whatever you want to call yourself, it is best to take notes on what you do. This is from what sigils you've made and their meaning, the pre-charging of something and when to charge it, what has worked and what has not worked, what an entity has told you to do, things you wish to try out, etc., etc. This is very useful for me when I'm looking at a ritual such as this right now, and I can look back and listen to what was going through my mind at the time, my explanations for things, and what it was for. This ritual here was done Sunday morning, very early morning, 12:23 a.m., just after midnight. And this was on October 16th, 2016, for the super harvest moon rising up in Aries. And the sun, day of sun, hour in the sun, that's the perfect time to make offerings to the sun. For this super moon in Aries was to bring, and is to bring, much positivity out into the world. The forwarding and the initiation of acts and plans and orders that you had to go forward with. The increasing success and positivity of relationships, etc., etc. That was already a given. But I wanted to go ahead and pre-charge 4 sigils at this time, for this would be one of the most powerful times to do it. Because already Aries, with the rising full moon waxing when you bring something to you, it's already very powerful in going out there. Giving an offering to the sun, which in this video my offering is a chalice of wine, to pre-charge these 4 sigils and to bring greatness into my life was even better. Right now in this video, you see my little altar right now. It's been going through a bunch of changes throughout the year, and this is what I have right now. I'm wearing my ritual robe, and I'm currently whipping myself with a whip. This is to get myself in a trance-like state, and it is also used as a form of getting out energy, since magic uses energy. You've probably heard of charging sigils with semen, with blood. You can also charge things, the rituals that you're doing, with smoke, with drink, and yes, with pain. This is done to bring out that symbolic energy and the symbolic dedication to what I'm doing in this ritual. Now in this ritual, the offering to the sun, I had gone forth with a ceremonial Kabbalistic entrance. I had done the ritual of the pentagram to bring forth the sun. Why'd I say pentagram? I mean hexagram. Ugh, I'm just making errors all over the place. Sorry about that. But that's what you get when you do stuff just off the cuff and on the fly, no script whatsoever. I had already done that, and I had called upon the sun. I had spoken to it what my desires are, and I'm going to go ahead and go forth in the video, and you'll see me on the ground, on my knees, looking at each sigil I have individually made and charging them that way as well. One of my mentors that you can find on YouTube, EA Coetting, I know a bunch of people are iffy on him because of his business practice, but he has some useful information that he teaches. One of the things that he teaches is how you can charge a sigil just by looking at it. You look at it until the lines on the sigil disappear and it begins flashing or bouncing up and off the paper that it's written on. Now what happens is that eventually certain lines of it will go away and disappear. Not all of it may disappear, but a good bit of it will. When it comes back, when he mentions the flashing, it will go out of focus and then super high detail in focus and almost appear to lift off the paper as the perception of your vision, well, the vision of your perception. Ugh, it's been a long day. But hey, this is raw, uncut, and straightforward. That's when your vision is kind of going in and out and you see the sigil popping in and out. That's when it's charged that way. Now for me, I take an approach put forward by Frederick Xavier here on YouTube, in which I draw my sigils, final ones that I'm going to make. You can always prepare the sigils in the statement of 10 on paper. I draw it on brown paper bag, and I draw it with a pencil, and I rip it out in a circle. This symbolizes it being more natural, more able to decompose and go out into the world. This is also shown when you burn a sigil or burn anything else. When you light a match or you turn on your lighter, you flick on the lighter, I can't speak. It's been a long day. But whenever you use fire, that is energy you're putting out there. Fire creates and destroys. That can be seen as an element of as above, so below. But when you create a sigil, you have your statement of intent and the power of it in there. That energy's all within it, and now you need to release it. Fire gives the sigil that energy. At the same time, it releases it. It goes out in the form of smoke into the world. That's why smoking is sometimes used in rituals to get yourself in a state of mind. Same with drinking. This also goes back to the saying of the phoenix rises from the ashes. Your desire, your intent will rise from the ashes of the sigil. Not to say you have to burn the sigil. Again, you can charge it with blood, semen, or if you have a candle offering, you put a candle on top of the sigil, you light the candle, and you let it melt all the way down. I've done that many times. The more of these you can do, the better for your sigil. Because hey, it's the difference between, let's say, going to burn down a forest with a match, or going to burn down a forest with a flamethrower and a bunch of gasoline. You're going to get the job done, but one of them's going to get it done a lot better with a lot more force than the other. So if you mix all those together, even better. More energy, time, efficiency, and effort you put into your ritual, the more you're going to get out of it. Like the ritual that you're seeing right now me doing, it looks very simple, not much is going on, but a lot went into it. It's a lot you can't hear. A big part of it is putting yourself in the mindset this is going to work, that this is true. You may have heard that this stuff that we do, this spirituality, this religion, this path, whatever you want to call it, takes faith. And in a sense, it does. And that can take a very long time to come about. It took me over a year of practicing to make this come about. This is after reading up on the literature, random magical books and grimoires for 3 to 4 years. Big long time as an armchair magician, then actually practicing it, it's a whole different thing. That's what all the tools, the altars, and the supplies are for. That's why I'm wearing a robe right now specifically for it. That's why I have a candle holder and 5 candles going. That's why I have 2 skulls, chalices, sigils of Baphomet, and a bunch of other stuff that I will use in my rituals. It gets you in that state of mind, and it puts energy into the magic that you're doing. The more energy, time, and effort that you exert into something, the greater the payback that you should get. The same is for magic. The more energy, time, and effort you put into it, the more you'll get out. This is why many magicians, witches, occult practitioners will look to astrology, dates, times on when to do things. They'll use specific colors. They'll use certain directions. They'll use chants. They'll use wands, swords, daggers. They'll get in trances and meditations, all to put forth the energy into what they are doing. For the more you put in, the more you'll get out. And I could say this with absolute certainty that that is what works the best. The more effort and time you put into each one of your magical workings, the more you'll get out of it. And this will take a bunch of trial and error, finding out what's the right way to put it in and what's the wrong way to put it in. And that might seem really weird. There's a right way and a wrong way to put in energy into something. Yes and no. With whatever you're doing, searching up books, looking up ways to make a sigil, listening to your mentors on how to do this path or that magic or this ritual or that spell, you're putting energy into your magical working. However, if you're going for something specific, like let's use the old and used one, money spell. The more you put into it that's related to money, the better. If you begin writing out plans for making money, you get a $1 bill and you draw a bunch of hundreds after the one to make it a $100,000 bill. If you begin to live and think that you're rich, buy new clothes, buy new items for your house, put yourself in this mindset that you have money, then all of that related energy into your working about money will direct it more towards your goal. This is the difference between hitting the bullseye on a target and just hitting the target. Sure, you're going to hit the target either way, but you want to go get the bullseye. Look at me, I said I wasn't going to go all about talking about your tools, your rituals, your sigils, this and this and that and that. Well, what I meant was I wasn't going to do any specific videos on them unless I had to, but I did say I was going to bring them up, so I guess I'm doing well, just being all eclectic with the very first video. Guess it shows how sporadic and ADD I can be with these things. But with magic and this stuff that we do, it can be all over the place. And it can be a very amazing and exciting thing that we want to talk about. That's right now. I'm very excited and interested to talk about this, to put my ideas forth. and I can able to listen back to this, see where I was at the time, my thoughts on things, the notes I had taken, the rituals that I had done, and hopefully I can learn from it. And if you're watching this too, maybe you can learn from it as well. Perhaps even look back and see some of the crazy things that I'm doing. Maybe in this video I'll look back years later in the future and just cringe at it. I don't know. You'll do some interesting things in rituals. You'll do anything from speaking in tongues to chanting, vibrating back and forth. Some people will get naked. Some people will draw symbols all over themselves. It's intense and crazy. And rituals can get very scary. I've done rituals where the candles that I had lit in my room blew out on their own. The pendant that I was holding in the air began swinging around in circles violently. And a seal that I had drawn on paper that was right there in front of me on the floor, I looked down at it and a giant black hole opened up in it. These black tendrils shot out from it all across the room, and I could just see this. Feel these cold chills going up and down my spine. I was in utter fear and terror as I felt someone behind me, someone or something. And I knew at that moment that this stuff is real. And that's for anyone who's new to this, you're going to have a couple scary experiences for this to really solidify in you that this is real. It took me a couple of scary experiences for me to learn that this is real. And most of them I can't really explain why that happened. Again, this isn't necessarily accepted by science what we're doing, but for some reason it works and it has success. And it's something that blows my mind even talking or thinking about it. I've read so many books and grimoires and so many paths, interpretations, teachings, sects, groups, all these things, which is why my mind is going left and right, trying to pull from the right things and trying to not seem like I'm boasting or I'm some sort of professor in this. Trying to keep it as simple as possible. But with all of this, I recommend that for those of you who are new, and even those of you who have been doing this for a long time, always go back to the basics. Make amazing groundwork to build your practice off of. So I remember I got straight into Satanism, Luciferianism, began working through the Qliphoth with the old ones of the Necronomicon. And I wasn't prepared for it. I was just grabbing a ritual and a spell I heard here and there, and I was doing them. And yeah, I got my success, but I was playing with fire and I kept getting burned. So I had to stop and step back, realize I have to make an amazing groundwork. I have to know the basics forward and backward, left and right. And with those things, and with that, I recommend anyone go and practice things such as ceremonial magic, the Kabbalah, planetary magic, and Wicca. Those are very basic groundwork forms of magic. That's not to say that they aren't effective, because they are very effective still. They can get things done for you. They're just a lot more straightforward, more people know of them. I would say they're more introductory and easy to understand. Not so with things such as working through all of the nodes of the tree, the Qliphoth, or trying to understand the book of Sitra Akra and work with the dragons of the Qliphoth, let alone trying to work with Nyarlathotep or Cthulhu of the old ones, the Necronomicon. You don't want to go there first. That's advanced level stuff and it will really mess with you. I can say that from experience. It messed with me. So with this and what I'm doing in this ceremony, this ritual I have on the video, it's part of me going back to the basics and working on the groundwork. Every new ritual system, sect, path, current I get into, I always go back and listen to the basics. Even if it's a repeat of what I heard over and over again, all it does is solidify it in my mind. And people always have new spins, new ideas, new goals and aims involving it. And those are amazing to hear. Because knowledge is power, especially in this. And you have to be diligent and very picky with what you seek out, learn, and use in this. For this is something that can come back and hurt you. This is something that can cause damage to you and in your life. Physical, mental, it can break you. Some people have gone to mental asylums because they couldn't handle what was going on. Some more advanced grimoires and paths, again, such as working with the old ones of the Necronomicon, there's a blatant warning that your life is going to begin to get crazy and chaotic. Your mind's going to begin to tear at the seams. So that's why a lot of people don't pursue those paths either, and prefer to stick with the simple stuff, such as what I'm doing in this video. Even though with some of the rocking back and forth and chanting you can't hear, it can be viewed as being pretty crazy in and of itself, but this is just the simple, basic stuff, believe it or not. With skulls and statues and candles, all that. What was I getting to? I don't know. Having a journal diary of magic is interesting. But it also will give me a chance to improve and stay more focused in future videos. It'll also give any one of you who's listening, bothers to listening, kind of an idea of the groundwork a little scratch of some of the things that I know, things I want to work on. Currently I'm working through a program on ceremonial magic, focusing with the Kabbalah. I'm just finishing up a program on planetary magic, and I'm soon beginning a year-long program on Wicca magic with Professor Birch of the Sacred Grove. And I'm going back with all these things again to build that strong groundwork. And I saw this when I first made contact with my spirit animal, which the way of doing this was given to me by someone in a forum long ago when one of my friends needed my help in his life. And when I was visiting with my spirit animal for the very first time, it was so weird to have these things happen. Even to this day, it's so interesting and amazing that this stuff actually happens in your head. But I saw my life as a tree, and the tree was on a giant slab of stone, pure stone, square, rectangular, long, and it was crumbling and cracked, and the tree was withering. And I was told, you need to go back and rebuild the groundwork. You need to nourish the tree better. And that is something to take very seriously, because if you do not approach this with caution and care, it can, as I said, destroy you. It has made me depressed. It has made me sick. It has made me go borderline crazy at times, for it is a power that I simply was not respectful of. I was not ready for it. And if the one thing to be taken away from this one video that has jumped left and right, has no clear purpose, got completely off track, the one thing to be taken from this is no matter how long you've been practicing magic, no matter how much of an adept you think you may be, always go back to the basics. Always make sure you know them. Always make sure that your groundwork that you are building off of is strong and solid. And don't feel ashamed or afraid to cut back to more simpler, basic forms of magic. You don't always have to go summoning Azazel or Nyarlathotep to get things done. A simple ritual with water and fire, a candle or two, can have just as much success. It's a crazy and interesting road to take with magic. And for some people, they won't stick on it forever. For some people, it'll be a gift and a curse. And for others, such as myself, it will be something that slowly grows on you, sticks with you, and becomes an integrated part of your lifestyle that you couldn't do without. For this will become a lifestyle choice, in a sense, if you become serious with it. It is something where when you begin to buy the items, buy the clothes, buy the books, that you know that this is something that you will be doing for the rest of your life. It should be enjoyable. It should be fun. It should be something that you want to pursue every day. And that may not come at first, but if you stick with it somehow, if something keeps drawing you back to it, then before you know it, this will be one of the most exciting parts of your day, of your life, and it will begin to change your life in amazing ways if you pursue it with respect, caution, and care. Many people stick with New Age methods, crystals and diamonds and this and that, and perhaps they have their use. The symbolic reasoning of getting yourself into the mindset to put the energy forth into your workings and to get you into that belief. But if you dig deep enough and you get into many currents that have been around for hundreds of years, to books that are hundreds of years old, to information passed down generation to generation, to summoning up demons and entities alike, then you'll know that you didn't choose magic, but magic chose you. Because if it is true that this is something that you are to do, then you are the goat, bold and brazen, making his or her own path, forever an outcast, an outsider, a trendsetter, a leader, for you never had any hope of ever being a conforming sheep. Thanks for listening to my long rambling on this first magical journal of mine. This was my ceremonial ritual offering to the sun, day of sun, hour of sun, an introduction to a little bit of myself and this channel, and I hope you enjoy. Take care, be safe, and remember, if you respect magic, magic will respect you. Hopefully the next video is better than this one and I can get more on track. Either way, take care.